Hello, 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 crossroads witches and other interesting magical beings. I do hope everyone is doing good today. Oh my goodness. Looks like we're going to have us an interesting video. I do want to start out with, my name is Taryn. I'm a Southern Conjuring Witch. That means I lean into folk magic, into Southern Conjure realms. I have been standing in space for over 40 years. So with that in mind, here are what I would say are the top 5 questions that beginner witches ask. And I'm going to give some of my personal insight and perspective into this. And the first one I want to start with is, what type of a witch am I? Oh, the labels, they're both good and bad. Labeling helps define our practice, it helps define information, and labeling can also put us in boxes and limit us. So there is a dark and light side to this. And as a beginner witch, being careful that you don't get into a box and shut the top and think that that's all there is. I know I've seen them, take the quiz, find out what type of a witch you are. And then you feel like, oh, well, because of that, I need to go study this, or I'm supposed to be like this, or because of this, I should do that. Don't fall for it. You get to define your practice and to take time to go down a lot of different rabbit holes before you ever start using labels. And understanding that, when we use the word head witch, when we're saying eclectic witch, these are all modern constructs. Historically, witches and other interesting magical beings didn't really label themselves so much. I often talk about this within the realm of hoodoo and Southern Conjure, where we didn't say those words. If you ask what we were doing, a lot of times it was, I'm doing a little something, something. And we were like, okay. We didn't have words. I did not hear a lot of the magic vocabulary until, here the past decade or two. Yeah, probably 3, really, as I think about it. But be careful with labels. Use them as a way to help yourself, not hinder yourself. Now, the other question that I get a lot, and I like, for those new, I always have notes. It helps keep me on track, and that way I get through all the subject matter. What tools do I need to start practicing witchcraft? All of them. Buy everything you possibly can and then go get some more. You need it all. You need everything you see out there. Y'all know I'm being foolish, right? Tools. Yes, this is, again, tools are great aids. But again, be careful with the wonderful aesthetics we have, that you don't end up with a lot of stuff on a shelf that you're not using. Make sure a tool is a useful tool, all right? Don't become magical hoarders. And I know it's hard because we have all these wonderful, beautiful, fun things out there. But being a little more mindful and being realistic. If we get into the history of witches, witches are about using what you have, using what you need. And a lot of times it's about, actually go in your backyard with a basket and going around it and gathering what you need. It's not about the commercialism. It's not about, going out, oh, I've got to shop, oh, I have to have this certain thing. It's about going out and seeing what Mother Nature has to give you. Again, tools are a wonderful way to help direct energy. I can say this whole list of great things about tools, and on the other side, I can say they're a crutch. You can end up with things that you don't actually use. You end up with junky shelves. You end up thinking that somehow if you get a special wand, that's going to make your magic better. You yourself make your magic better. The special wand just is a tool, an aid. So be very mindful, and when you first start out, do not buy lots and lots of stuff. Let the universe guide you and put you in spaces where you will get what you need. That's where I'm going to go with that. Next one. Do I need to follow a certain tradition or religion to practice witchcraft? No, not at all. Witchcraft within itself, and it's not a religion, but for many folks it is part of their spiritual practice. So in a way, yes, it does become their religion, but for others it's absolutely a practice. And the witchcraft itself has been used millennia, multicultural, and that whatever flip side of it is, you can put it together is blah, blah, what I'm trying to say. All right, let me get my notes, all right? Historically, witchcraft has always been a bit of a rebel, working in the spaces between religions and cultures. In ancient times, practitioners of magic existed everywhere, from ancient Egypt and Rome, and none of them followed one doctrine. There were cunning folk in medieval Europe, often Christian, who mixed faith with spells. Some were pagan, some were Christian, and some just practical healers who worked with herbs and spirits without any religious affiliation. Your practice is entirely your own. Some witches honor deities, some work with elements, and others simply connect with the cycle of the moon. Don't fall for you have to be a part of this in order to unlock some mystical magical power. No, you don't. All right, next one. And so these notes, of course, are going to be posted on House of Witchcraft so that you can go back if you would like and read them. How do I cast my first spell? What? You've probably already done it. You just haven't put the pieces together yet. And when you do, you'll be like, oh, really? That was it? I did it. You're doing it naturally and not even aware of the fact that you're doing. But taking that first knowing step can really be intimidating. And it's very much about keeping it simple. We always recommend, I know here in the house, and I know there are other groups as well that always say start with a good protection spell, where, if you want, use candle magic, white candle, visualize yourself surrounded by a bubble of light, say a few words, something like I'm safe, I'm protected. That's magic. Now you're going, well, I already did that. Well, okay, you've already done your first spell. Historically, spells were not written down in elaborate grimoires. That didn't happen until much later. All right, that's actually a fairly modern concept. Most folk magic was passed orally or through simple everyday practices. In medieval Europe, a common charm might involve tying knots and a cord while chanting for protection or success. Knot magic in medieval Europe was very popular. People were doing it like sitting on the steps. Nobody thought about it. It was part of everyday normal life, all right? And, we're a little removed from that. We're not understanding at one point within society, magic was done openly. Magic was part of society. It was part of the fabric. All right. The other one is the Oogie Boogie Man gonna get me? Or how do I protect myself when I'm doing magic? All right. When working with energy and the unseen, it's always smart to have a protection routine. That's why we said the first one. First spell you should ever do is protection. All right. Which is commonly, mostly, I would hope always, practice some sort of psychic self-defense, whether it's through casting protective circles, wearing amulets like a pinnacle for protection, or carrying tourmaline or crystals like black tourmaline. Many of us have, we wear protection style, actually this protection jewelry, as to keep that energetic shield around ourselves. And this is again where you learn to work with, you can do this with your elements, you can do it with crystals, with stones, you can use the Psalms. There's so many ways you can use do protection magic for yourself, and it's about constantly feeding it. So always be doing your protection magic. If you're doing protection magic, then you are just fine in any of your endeavors. One of the things I like to do in my spaces is I take foam window cleaner and I write protection sigils on my windows when I'm cleaning, so that I am keeping my space safe as well. And here are my 5 top questions. All right. And the beauty of witchcraft is there is no one path. All right. It's never stagnant, is what I would say. It's always evolving. You learn by doing, by trusting yourself, and by tuning into the rhythms of the world around you. Your tools, your spells, even your identity as a witch will shift over time. And that's exactly how it's supposed to be. I am different than that beautiful young witch that I was in my 20s, as I am now a 60-year-old witch. And a lot of my beliefs, a lot of my practice is completely different because, you know, as I've learned better, I've done better. And, you know, we're always a work in progress. And the biggest thing is to get out there and do it. Go light that candle, go do that spell, and remember, your magic is yours. It's part of you. And the more you nurture it, the more it's gonna grow. All right, I hope that inspired some of you witches out there. And with that said, get out there, fly those brooms, have a bright, blessed day. And as always, amen, blessed be, ashe, and a bobo.